Welcome into today's show here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Good to have you with us, whether you're watching on TV, listening on the pod, watching online. Appreciate it. Our show today brought to you by the Insurance Circle Agency. You can visit them on Spring Arbor Road in Jackson or in Battle Creek, 269-200-2905. I'm David. That's producer Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good. I'm really, we've talked the last couple of weeks about the Tigers, and we've been saying it, the last couple shows over and over. Yeah, they're on the right direction, but this year won't be the playoffs. We'll look forward to next year. Still a good year for us, though, with a bright future, right? But Tigers have made a little bit of a run here. They've only lost one game in the last handful. They're only now one game under 500. That's right. The Tigers with this team are 65-66. The Tigers have a chance to reach 500 tonight against the White Sox with the win, something that they haven't done in 8 years. And the White Sox lost to the Tigers 9-4 on Sunday, handing them their 100th loss of the season. They could be on track to be the second worst team by record in baseball history. I think the Mets had a worse record in 1 year, a long time ago. So them and the Mets will be in company that you don't want to be in. Of course, Tigers start their series against the White Sox tonight, Monday. Now, they still have a couple of teams ahead of them, still in the wild card race. But if the Tigers win, let's say all 3 games here against the White Sox, because the White Sox are not good, we know that, it gets them 2 games above 500. And then it still gets tough because we have series against the Orioles at the end of the schedule and against the Red Sox. And I'm not confident in the Tigers going into Baltimore and then playing the Red Sox. I don't see the Tigers continuing their hot streak after the White Sox series. Will they take a game or two? Will they steal one? Sure. They'll finish right around 500 where they are now. But it's still an exciting finish to the year, though, for the Tigers.
I mean, if you asked me at the start of the season, if we would have been 500, I would have been pretty happy with that. So,
I would have told you were crazy.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I was telling people that we were going to win the division. So, I mean,
well,
I was
and
crazy.
Look how that,
I know, but still, we're still right around 500. So that's kind of where
happy with where we're at.
Yeah, it's kind of where I guess I'm not happy, but I'm
right.
I'm at least, kind of with our growth and how I was looking at our team at the start of the year, this is kind of where I thought we'd be at. Maybe I thought some teams in our division would be a lot worse, and I kind of felt like with this record we'd be like 4 or 5 out, but still not bad.
Right. Well, the Tigers again begin their series against the White Sox tonight, Monday. Week 0 happened over the weekend. College football, one big game in Ireland, the first ever international NCAA game. Georgia Tech with a huge upset against Florida State, 24-21 against the number 10 Seminoles. Nobody expected this. And again, Georgia Tech, again, coming into Ireland. By the way, if you watch College Game Day, that was cool having the debut of the new Corino Lee Corso will be back this coming Saturday. But Nick Saban's now on the Game Day crew. Pat McAfee's still there. And I like how Nick Saban made a jab at everybody who was upset that Florida State still didn't get in, and fans thought it had something to do with Kirk Herbstreit and Nick Saban, because obviously he was still coaching Alabama, and Nick Saban made a joke about that. He actually said, no, it was for all the Seminole fans out there, it was not me, it was not Kirk. I did not, basically vouch and try to wave, cash at them to make because Alabama, obviously, you look at the audience, like the brand, I guess, Florida State or Alabama, when it comes to viewership and ratings and money and who would you rather have watch on TV? Alabama, definitely over Florida State. But still, Georgia Tech, we're starting off weeks here. We're not even week 1. We're in week 0, and we already have an upset. And Pat McAfee, shout out to him. I think he had about 38 Guinnesses during his show on Friday.
Dude, he was hammered, man.
He even said it on the air, too. He was talking to AJ. He's like, dude, I can't say what he actually said on TV, but we'll call it hammered.
I think there was a point in that interview. I think it was like 15 minutes into his interview with Saban, and then he was like, "Hi," he's like, "Hey, I'm Pat." Like he introduced himself like 15 minutes into.
We know who you are.
Yeah, it was.
Lay off the
it
Guinness.
It was fun.
The Lions finished their preseason, their third one against the Steelers over the weekend. And it's safe to say the Lions have found their backup quarterback. And again, I'm not a Lions fan, as most of you definitely know by now, but I really like Hendon Hooker, though, and he definitely is the backup job behind Jared Goff. The Lions have found their backup in Hendon Hooker, and they've definitely found their new kicker now in Jake Bates. What a journey he's had, though, coming from it's not the XFL. I always forget the name of the league. The USFL?
Is that what it was?
UFL.
Yeah, something like that. Well, they merged, so I'm not sure what it's called now.
Something football league. Jake Bates was playing for the Michigan team and then got picked up by the Lions. Let's turn to some more local. Jackson College, again, their 12th annual JC Jets golf outing coming up at the end of the month, Saturday, September next month. I feel like we're in September now just because time's flying by, but we're still in August.
It's close, though. It's close.
Labor Day is already coming up this weekend. That's ridiculous. And it's still 90 degrees out, almost in September. But anyways, the JC Jets golf outing, 9 a.m. at Lakeland, Saturday, September 28th. Open tryouts for their JC Cross Country happening on August 28th and September 4th at 3:30 p.m. And Jackson College women's soccer team went 1-1 over the weekend, playing in the Women Supporting Women in Sports tournament in New York. They took a road trip. The Jets lost to Monroe Community College 3-0 on Saturday, but they rebounded and got a big win, 6-1 over Genesee Community College on Sunday. Their home opener here in Jackson this next Saturday, September 7th, against Terra State, beginning at 1 p.m. A lot of high school sports happened over the weekend, too, as we're back underway with the school year. Lots of volleyball happened, the Adrian Maple Invite. That's right, in my neck of the woods down there in Adrian. I should have went. Columbia Central went 2-1 at the Maple Invite. Concord went 2-1 at St. Philip. And Hanover Horton finished second overall at the Chelsea Bulldog Invitational. A lot of cross-country happening over the weekend, too. Northwest finishing top 5 at the Weberville Invitational. And both boys and girls cross-country from Lumen Christi was at the Michigan Catholic event. Lumen Christi won first place in the boys, and the girls finished second place. And Columbia Central boys soccer won over the weekend, too, and they went 1-1. And if you go to our website, jtv.tv, there's the daily scoreboard on there and photo galleries and so many photos from not just sports, too, but other community events. And if you go to our scoreboard from earlier this morning or yesterday, you'll see our JTV Sports Performer of the Week on there, too, senior golfer from Columbia High School, Logan Bentley. She tied her own school record with a 2-under par round at the Grand. And she birdied the 9th hole, eagled the 8th on her way to a 34. So congratulations, the JTV Sports Performer of the Week, Logan Bentley from Columbia Central High School. And our favorite time of the year is coming back Thursday night. We mentioned it last week. Our 25th season of high school football on JTV happening Thursday night, presented by Minuteman Sewer and Drain, will be at Lumen Christi, the back-to-back defending Division VII football state champions, the Lumen Christi Titans, hosting the Michigan Center Cardinals, definitely a contender in their own conference in the Cascades. But this year, Lumen Christi moved up. They're now in Division VI, but they're still coming in back-to-back defending Division 7 state champions. I'm excited to see how they compete this year in Division 6. Michigan Center is still in D6. They have been for quite a few years, so they may, if Michigan Center makes the playoffs, they may see each other again later in the year in the first round. So, again, 6:45 p.m. will be live Thursday night from Lumen Christi. Myself, Josh Burgett. Josh Burgett will actually be on our show Wednesday, so I'm really excited to talk with him. Pat O'Dowd and Max Fritz as well, so it's going to be a great game. Great way to start our season.
This has to be, as far as I know, this has to be the first time we've ran 4. I know they're not all in the booth, but that we've run 4 announcers for a game. This has to be the first time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Since I've been here, I know we've done 3 a lot, but never done 4.
And what we're doing with Max on the sidelines, I think that's going to be a pretty cool thing. Especially paired with you, Josh and Pat. I think it should be a fun broadcast. People are going to like it.
Our of course, I don't do as much analysis, I guess, of the play during the broadcast with me being play-by-play. That's, more Josh and Pat. But I think when you add everybody's analysis of the game and their knowledge, watching film on these two teams that played each other last year, we were there. I wasn't there, but you guys were there.
For sure.
And just our personalities, and we've all done a game with each other before. It'll be really exciting. Shout out to Max, too. He's done a great job at the other community event shows. Civil War Muster.
Yeah, we were just at the Civil War Muster.
How was that?
The other day. It was good. That's what I was going to talk about earlier. When I came in, the reason I knew Brandon was here is because he was watching that Georgia Tech game. But yeah, that's what we were going to film. But yeah, Max was
turnout.
Was awesome doing that. Pretty darn good turnout. I got to say, lots of people there. That's my first year being at that one, and it was good.
Relay for Life, he was at that too. Yep. So shout out to Max Fritz. So looking forward to our 25th season of high school football on Thursday night, presented by Minuteman Sewer and Drain. When we come back, JTV sports commentator and the Soup from Napoleon Township, Dan Gallagher, is joining the show. Stay tuned. Welcome back here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Our show today brought to you by the Insurance Circle Agency. You can visit them on Spring Arbor Road in Jackson or in Battle Creek. Happy to have on the show today JTV sports commentator, the supervisor, Napoleon Township, Dan Gallagher, joining the show.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, for having me.
How's the summer been for you?
Oh, it's been hectic.
Hectic?
It's been fun. The weather's been great.
It has.
Except for that one where the water was coming up over the seawall and everybody was panicking. And
we were at the lake a lot. I think the whole time that had happened, and you just couldn't even. We were going to somebody else's house on the lake.
Yeah.
You couldn't
Price Lake.
Well, we were on another lake, but we couldn't even beach it though to go to somebody else's. House. The water level's been so
people
high
were
with the
saying
rain.
it's so high they've never seen it that high.
Right. Well, the summer's been good. I know you're a Lions fan. I'm not. But have you?
We know you're a Green Bay fan.
You excited for the Lions though this year?
Yeah, the expectation is even higher than last year.
It is.
They're predicting. I don't know who they are, but they're predicting them to start 8-0. Have you heard that?
I have seen a couple of videos.
I'd be happy about that. There's a couple harder games to start off, but I hope so.
Right, but to live up to that, and it'd be, let's say they end up being 5-3. Is that going to be disappointing?
Oh, it will 100% be. I think Sports Illustrated listed us as the favorites to win the Super Bowl, and I can't tell you. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think it's ever happened.
Ever.
Where Sports Illustrated listed us as the favorites.
Yeah.
So.
Didn't they have some players? Goff was on the cover?
Goff, Amon-Ra. I think that was like the one that they did to unveil. I think it was Goff, Amon-Ra, and maybe Gibbs was on the cover.
Yeah.
Or
there
maybe
was a third.
Yeah, there's a third.
I don't remember
but
who it was.
But that's awesome.
Is Gibbs' injury as bad as what they said it was originally? They're not saying much about it at all.
think they're
I
not
haven't
saying
read
much.
much. We'll have to
Hamstring?
give an
Yeah,
update.
I'll take a look, and when we come back from the break, we'll have an update on that.
It's his hamstring.
It's his
right?
hamstring. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think a hamstring would leave you out. It's not like a Achilles or a
Yeah.
ACL. I think it's
Right, it does suck for major injuries. JJ McCarthy, he's out for the year now.
was that Achilles?
That was torn meniscus.
Even meniscus isn't as bad as it used to be.
Right, it's still, I think at least it's a it's still a severe, injury though. He's out for the whole year now.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get a chance to play in the regular season.
Yeah.
He was playing in the preseason game, and the coach it didn't look like he got hurt, but he came off, and then the next day he's like, man, something's not right. So they did all these scans and tests and torn meniscus. So
You know what that reminds me of is when Stafford, his first year, and remember we were so high on Stafford, and then he hurt his shoulder,
Yeah, and then that Browns
and then he
game.
hurt it again the next year.
Yep, that's right. I
So-
remember there were some questions early on whether or not he was going to be our guy because of those injuries,
Yeah.
and then look, he ended up becoming one of the best lines of all time.
So I feel for the Viking fans. It's too
Right.
bad, but he'll be back, and he'll do some damage.
for sure, Stafford played right after he got hurt with the shoulder, didn't he?
Yeah, that was in
was
the-
that the
Oh, he
Browns
played,
game?
or-
where
Yeah,
he
that was in that
finished?
Browns game where he hurt it and then he still
Yeah, he said
made
he-
the final play and won
I
the
can
game.
play, I
Yeah.
can play, and he
One
couldn't
of the
hardly lift his arm.
coolest moments
Threw a
in
touchdown
football.
pass, I
That's
think.
right.
Yeah.
Threw it to Pettigrew. I still remember that. It was amazing.
Yeah, I still see those highlights come up often.
You might not have even been born yet, but
What?
it was
what?
a while ago.
What year was that? 2000.
2008,
10.
7.
And what year were you
something in
born?
that area? 2009.
98.
I was born before that happened.
Yeah, but what year were you born?
5. Oh, 5.
Doesn't that just
Blows my mind.
breaks your soul?
Oh, David.
And again, I think the expectations for the Lions are higher than, to me at least, Green Bay's expectations. I know nobody really, nobody expected us. There you go. Nobody expected Green Bay to make the play. We started below 500. It was not good. We ended up being the youngest team ever to make the playoffs and, beat the Cowboys, but that's pretty easy because they fold every year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
Now, if the Lions, how did that go? I did not want them to play the Packers in the playoffs because I think the Packers would have got them.
I think so.
They
but
played.
that's me.
They played Stafford's team
The Rams.
instead.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Tampa Bay.
But if they would have won if the Lions would have won the Dallas game, then I think they would have played.
They would have played Packers in the
Green
first game.
And I think they would have. That would have been.
I
That
remember.
would have been an all-time classic. I mean,
Yeah.
because both teams, they split. They beat each other once.
Mm-hmm.
That's
year.
usually what happens. In the North.
I don't want to give David credit because I don't like the Packers, but I was in the same
I'll
way.
take all the credit.
I don't like
Thank
them
you.
either.
Yeah, part of me wanted to face San Fran over Green Bay was what I was telling people. Like when it was like, who are you going to face in the NFC Championship game? I was like, I'd rather face San Francisco, honestly.
Yeah.
You
It'd
know?
be nice to have it be at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Phenomenal.
Instead of playing, Lions Packers at Ford Field in the opening round, that would have I would have been scared too, because I know we beat Detroit once, the second game, but the first time when they played at Green Bay last year, Detroit just beat the what out of them.
Yeah.
So,
I'm fortunate we go to away games. We've been to Cleveland. What a great stadium Cleveland
Oh,
is.
I've always wanted to go to Cleveland.
And when the Raiders played, in Oakland, that was a crazy game.
oh, you've been to Oakland when the
Oh, yeah.
Raiders were there?
And
Nice.
last year we went to the Tampa Bay game, and do you remember that game? Maybe.
Oh, the Tampa Bay Detroit one.
Yeah,
Oh, that
in-
was a
in
great
Tampa.
game.
There, there was at least 50% blue jerseys. It was so cool. It was so loud.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, and we had the best time down there for that. So it's fun to see the perspective of watching the Lions play on someone else's turf.
And we've been wanting to do more away stadiums for a long time. I think the only two NFL stadiums I've been to just Ford Field and Lambeau. And we've been wanting to go to. I think I've been to Indianapolis before, so that's three.
That'd
but
be an easy one to go this year. They play in Indianapolis, so that'd be.
We've also been to Indy too for Michigan when they've been in the Big Ten championship. But we've been wanting to do more away games, and we've been kind of starting a list of which ones we should do first because it's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, the close ones.
especially,
The Bears
out
are
west
easy. You
or-
take the train, go see. We saw the Bears. We went to Lambeau. That was fun. And I think I'm undefeated for all the away games that we've been to.
We need to get you on the road this season. Then,
Yeah.
if that's the truth.
Right.
So what was it like for you being a Lions fan seeing Lambeau Field? I'm curious on your perspective on it.
It was a Monday night game a few years ago, and they just built this hotel, 100 yards away called the Kohler, the Lodge Kohler Hotel. Amazing. We stayed there, and it was just phenomenal. So just roll out of bed and walk across the street and get to your seats. I didn't feel like I was on holy ground or anything like that. I wanted to go to Lambeau because it's been around forever, so it was fun.
Right. I didn't expect you to say it was holy ground. I thought you would have given
to you
more,
guys it
I
is.
thought you would have given more compliments on it. But no, I've been there I think 2 or 3 times. One of them we did, I don't remember the player's name. It wasn't like A tier like Packers Hall of Famer, but we did a field tour and went through the tunnel and underneath. So that was cool. And then up in the suites. So it's just cool to see because they've had the same stadium for, I don't know, 80 years
and it's
now,
crazy
90?
because it's like it's in a neighborhood.
Yeah, it's the smallest city in the NFL.
And might be the smallest stadium, too.
Probably. I think it only fits 60,000, 58,000.
Yeah, that's
60.
less than Ford Field. I think it's 65 at Ford Field.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Silverdome was over 80.
Silverdome was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I never got to end up going to the Silverdome just because, by that point, I was born in 94, so I would have been just like 6, I would have been younger than, when did they close the Silverdome?
Right around then.
Yeah, okay, so that
I'm
makes sense
thinking.
because 1999 was when they shut down Tiger Stadium, so I was pretty young when that happened too, and that was kind of the last little changeover, and then get to see the Little Caesars
Did you go?
too. I never got to go to Tiger Stadium.
No.
I got to see it when it was demolished. I got to go by a bunch when that was taking place, but I never actually got to go in.
Interesting thing about the Silverdome was you could smoke in there.
No way.
Yeah.
You could?
Yep. You smoke. They could smoke cigarettes, and then after a while, a few years they stopped. But they would punt the ball, and the ball would go up and disappear into the smoke. I'm not kidding.
And then come back down.
Yeah.
No way.
That got to be that was one of the loudest games I've ever been to. Was when the Lions, that last playoff game that they won against Dallas.
Oh wow!
Oh my god!
You were at that game?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was so loud, so loud.
I do.
A lot of people are talking about how loud it is at Ford Field.
And it's loud.
Yeah. I have not been since I didn't go last year.
And I remember my older cousin. He was telling me he went to the at the Silverdome Barry Sanders versus Bo Jackson when the Raiders were here on Monday Night Football. I don't remember what year it was.
Yeah, I'm sure we lost.
Mid 90s, I think, early 90s. He's like, as soon as the schedule came out, I took off work for that. It's Barry Sanders and it's Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
You won't be able to see a matchup like that again.
Pretty cool.
Because those two teams only play once every 4 years.
Yeah. You know what I hate? I hated going to the Monday night games because
Why
back
is-
then they started at 9 o'clock. It was
9?
It was a work
Oh,
night.
it was a late one. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think people are doing all day long before the game?
Of course, everybody's tailgating. Yeah.
And there were so many fights and so it was crazy.
I'm interested to see because we have season tickets to Michigan. Longer than my family's had them longer than I've been alive. So they've gone to. I've only missed literally a handful of home games, and I don't know the 13 or 14 years that I've been going. And now that they're actually selling alcohol starting this year.
I was just going to ask you that.
In the big house. They started it.
Michigan State, I think they started too.
They started, I think, last year. But this year, U of M's starting it. And I can't imagine what that's, because it's already a crazy scene, in Ann Arbor. There's already 110,000 people in there that had been tailgating all day before because they weren't selling anything in the stadium. And now that they are, I'm interested to just see how, how that plays out. Will there be more, fights or anything like that? I don't know.
Yeah. I have a question about college football. Is it NIL?
NIL, yeah.
What do you know what that stands for?
Name, image, and likeness.
Okay, and then so they named the top 10 players as far as like some of them are at $1 million and somebody's up to like $4 million. I don't know who the number one would be.
I could look that up.
I saw it on
see.
Reels or something.
Yeah, I could look that up and see who the number one is.
So does that mean, because they had a number next to their name and it was $1 million? Does that mean they've already made $1 million, or they're going to make $1 million?
Yeah,
yeah, like their yearly salary
for a
would technically
college
be.
kid?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
$4 million? Is that what you
One of
said,
them was
4?
at $4 million. I think he's a quarterback.
It would have had to have been a player from last year.
Or it could be like Archie Manning or something like that.
Yes, it was.
It was?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Arch. I think they call him Arch.
Arch.
Arch has made
his
$4
grandpa's
million?
dad was Archie, right?
That's right. That's right. That's how
Yes.
they. Yep.
Right, but I'm
Whose
still.
kid is that? I'm sorry.
Cooper.
It's-
It's not Peyton.
It
or
is
Eli.
Cooper's.
Cooper,
Yeah.
and Cooper was the best athlete out of all.
But got
all of
hurt,
them.
right? If I
Yeah.
remember. So number one, this is crazy. Number one is Shadur Sanders. Makes sense.
Did he have a dollar figure?
His evaluation is $4.7 million. And then number two,
Really?
which is obvious, number two is Livy Dunn. If you know anything about Livy Dunn, she makes her money. She's at 3.9, and then number three is Arch Manning at 3.1.
Where does he play?
He plays at Texas, sophomore, so
But
he'll
he's the
hopefully play
third
this year.
string quarterback.
And they have
though.
a
He
Heisman
is?
candidate as a
Yeah.
quarterback as their starter, so he's not seeing much play this year.
any.
Yeah, if
hardly,
any.
if any. A Manning is a third string quarterback at Texas, and he's still making almost $5 million or whatever the number is. That's just ridiculous to
Yeah.
me. We do have to take a break. We're going to talk more college football, and we're going to talk Napoleon football too.
All right.
When we come back, so more with Dan Gallagher coming
Go
up.
Pirates.
Yeah, here on JTV. We'll be back. Welcome back here on JTV. Our show today brought to you by the Insurance Circle Agency, 269-200-2905. I'm David Rice. That's producer Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello. Sorry, I had myself muted. How's it going, man?
Good. We're still here with JTV sports commentator Dan Gallagher.
Hello.
So we were talking. I do want to come back to college football in a few minutes. I know we were talking about that before the break with NIL. By the way, that's still ridiculous. Arch Manning is making however much it was.
And how
$4
long did you go to
million.
college? 4 years? $20 million ish? Why not retire?
Something like that.
And he's a sophomore at $4.7 million. A sophomore.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and going into his sophomore year, he hasn't he's still got 3 playing years left.
And he hasn't even played one.
Right, I think he's maybe played literally only a couple of snaps,
Yeah.
and that's it. Well, our 25th season of football is coming up here on JTV.
Wow.
This week, with today being Monday, games on Thursday. We've got Lumen Christi, Michigan Center coming up, so I'm excited for that. Of course, our 25th season brought to you by Minuteman Sewer and Drains. So thanks to Mark and Chris Konopacki and the team at Minuteman. Of course, Lumen Christi won the state championship again last year. They're coming in back-to-back defending state champions, looking to three-peat. And they played Michigan Center last year at Center's place. It's a home-and-home 2-year deal. So now Michigan Center is going to be playing at Lumen to open up their season. And I'm interested to see how this game goes because, we always talk about if a bunch of guys, just in general, if there's not a bunch of players returning on a team, I guess the noise or the expectation would be they're gonna take a step back. They're not gonna have as good of a record. But the thing with Lumen is they've been successful every year for as long as anybody can remember.
What's the common denominator there?
The line
The coach.
and the coach.
Yeah.
The coach, but the line is also.
They always have a great line.
And you always have talked about it as far back as I can remember doing games with you. You've always made that the number one thing on the broadcast for you is the line, and they're the most important
big guy,
part
the
of the
Hogs.
team.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, if it isn't for them, and we were talking off camera a little bit ago about a fraction of a second, especially in the NFL, if you have a quarterback that has a third of a second more, it's like a look here and then a look there. Stafford didn't get that when he was with us.
Right.
Barry Sanders, too bad. We didn't have a good line. But we have, going back to the Lions again, I'm sorry, they have the absolute best line in the NFL because they give him a little bit. You can get a look, and a look instead of just one look. So,
right.
But getting back to Michigan Center and Lumen Christi, you always got to look out for both teams are really well coached. You always got to look out for Michigan Center. And Michigan Center, I think, moved up a division this year. They got bigger. They went into 6, maybe.
The Lumen moved up a division.
No, I think Center did. I don't think
I'll have to
Lumen
look
probably
into that.
got smaller.
I know
if
Michigan
anything.
Center they've been in 6 for the longest time. Lumen was in 7.
Yep.
They moved. They're
Same
playing
as Napoleon.
Napoleon is not in 6 this year. They missed the cutoff by 2 schools. They were that close to being in 6, Napoleon. So they're still in 7 this year. But Lumen did jump to 6.
They're getting bigger then.
Yeah. So they're playing in 6, same division as. I'll have to look into Center. I don't remember them seeing moving up a division.
Yeah, so I heard that. Who knows?
But
You can't believe the internet.
But we our sources, Josh Burgett, he'll tell us. He's our Wikipedia of high school sports
Absolutely.
knowledge. He'll be on the show Wednesday, our next show, by the way. So you have to watch out for that. I'm
Absolutely.
excited to have Josh on.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Thursday, is our first broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now getting back to Lumen and Center, well coached, but again the line. And usually, though, when you lose a lot of starters and you basically have a whole new team coming in, the expectation right away is always going to be, well, they're not going to be as good. But when you have the coached, the whole coaching staff, obviously, Coach Brogan has been amazing, 13 or 14 championships. But the whole coaching staff and just the way they've been able to just reload every year in all their skill positions too, and obviously the line, they're the most important part, and we talked about it off camera too. They don't get enough credit ever.
No, they don't. It's a ball carrier. It's who got the interception. It's who picked up the fumble. But
who caught the touchdown pass.
And you don't have to be a huge guy, and you don't have to be negative because you're on the line, right? It's about being quick and being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Do what the play says. And we talked about, a couple linemen. Let's say that you got the guard and the center, and this center waits, the guard crosses in front of him, then the center goes and opens up a little hole. He blocks those 2 guys, and then the fullback comes through the hole, blocks the linebacker. Boom, you're gone.
Yep.
And you don't have to be, huge and super strong. Just get in where you're supposed to be and get on your guy. That's it. It's simple. And that's what these coaches that are successful, they start with the line. And then you go, the defensive line, of course, is you got to be quick and you got to watch the edges and things like that.
So, and I'm interested to see how how this first game for us turns out, because last year Lumen Christi beat Center handedly, but the very first play from scrimmage on offense for Lumen, Cadale Williams did his thing and he scored a touchdown on their first play. So from then on, because he's the best football player in the area to me, He just committed to Central a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No.
He committed to Central Michigan.
Good place to play.
Yeah.
He'll get some playing time.
If hopefully for sure. He'll be in the what conference are they in? The MAC.
It's the MAC, I think.
With Eastern and Western.
Grand Valley, are they the MAC or GLIAC?
Grand Valley.
Grand Valley's Division 2.
Division 2.
Yep. Yeah, but they're in there with Toledo, Akron, Buffalo, Eastern, Western, all those
Ball
schools.
State, Kent State,
Mhm.
probably a bunch of other random ones that I forget about that play in the Mayo Bowl every year. Like they get 7 wins. But no, he committed to Central, but right away, they won handedly last year. But I'm interested to see how it is this year, and I'm interested to see how the Cascades Conference turns out because Napoleon lost so much from the last 2 years, so they've been the best 2 years in the program's history. We've had a lot of fun watching Napoleon.
Yeah,
the last
I didn't
2
think they'd go
years.
as far as they did last year. After 2 years ago, with undefeated up to that game they had, that freezing game in Chelsea.
Oh,
Was
I
that a
remember
semi?
That.
Was that the
That
semi?
was the semifinal.
I'm pretty sure that was
Yeah.
semifinals. Yeah.
Were we there?
Yeah,
I was there.
I don't think I got to go there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you were there for that one.
I was in Florida, but I would listen. I listened to the game.
I think us two
Was I
in
there?
Austin and Noah
Oh,
were
that's
there.
right. I was there.
I
at that
remember
that
watching the
game.
Michigan game after.
You weren't able to film or anything, were you?
Just-
I think Noah was the only one. He was able to film, but it was just a pre-tape, like it was
Yeah.
like highlights. But
Highlights.
I still remember us freezing our butts
Yep.
off on that field, and then trying to go to Jimmy John's afterwards in Chelsea, and they were all sold out of bread.
They had no bread.
Weirdest
Can you
weirdest
believe
thing.
that? A sandwich place has no bread.
Yeah. How does that happen?
Ew.
Yeah.
So I just make it a salad then, I guess.
I guess.
But no, we were there, and I remember watching the Michigan game though in the car right after the Lumen game was done. That was
It was Michigan, Illinois.
the game Blake Corum got hurt
Yep,
too.
that's right.
And I remember us being concerned because he was a Heisman candidate.
Yeah, that's right.
And he got hurt, and now he wasn't even in the conversation after that, even though he already had 10 or 11 good games before that. And I just remember all of us being like, our hearts dropped immediately. We didn't know how it was going to look after, and then, very next game, Donovan Edwards did his thing.
And we knew
against
he was
Ohio
good.
State.
It was just one of those things where it's like, here we go. Like,
Yeah, we don't know how
this
this
is
is gonna
about to
turn
what's
out.
going to happen to this
We're
season.
going off the rails here a little bit. But
We are.
Did
100%.
the Netflix show Receivers? Did you guys see that?
I haven't-
Oh, I have
haven't
not
seen
been able
that.
to see it, but I've been dying to see it.
Amon Ra.
Yeah.
And then there's Kittle and there's
Isn't Jefferson? Yeah.
from Minnesota and another
Oh, Mike
San
Evans? Or no, San Fran.
two receivers.
Debo Samuel?
Debo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I forget who the other one was.
Brandon Ayuk, maybe?
No.
I don't know.
My point is Amon Ra. He's so good.
Yep.
And he ended up with a rash come on his face, and he was concerned about it.
Really?
He ended up having hoof and mouth disease, and it had all these on his hands. His hands were hurting. His feet. He still played and scored.
Yeah.
Nobody
Oh,
knew.
God.
Nobody knew, but
What a monster.
yeah, he is a pretty neat guy. And his brother plays for the Bears.
Yeah, that's right.
His brother played for Green Bay before Chicago too.
Yeah, I think.
so.
Yep. But I didn't. I just wanted to. If you haven't seen Receivers on Netflix, check it out.
I'll have to
Yeah,
see
for
it.
sure. But no, the back to the high school football. I think because Napoleon lost a lot, they have an experienced line coming back, but they have a new quarterback, a new running back, and new receivers, and still some new starters on the defensive side of the ball too. And Michigan Center brought almost all their guys back. Grass Lake didn't lose hardly anybody. They reloaded. So I think as far as the East Division and the Cascades, that's pretty open to me. It'll be fun to watch and see what two teams it comes down to, like in the last week, because Napoleon and Addison have been the two teams the last couple of years, and I really don't know who I would pick right now to win the Cascades. I really
No,
don't.
they got to
have
play a
clear
game
favorite.
first.
Right?
They got to play a game, and as a former high school official for 19 years, I was going to say the difference between your sophomore year and then your junior year, as far as growth goes, you know, I would do a JV game, and then we do a varsity game. It is so much faster and so much quicker. So everything is different about the JV game. So you may not have been big and you played on JV and your team wasn't that good, but there's a few kids that end up bench pressing 100 pounds more than they did
just over the summer going into the next year.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the unpredictable part of high school football is you just don't know. And, you know, you put all your Grass Lake was they weren't that good last year, but they played a lot of sophomores. They didn't graduate, you know, hardly any seniors, maybe 3 at the most.
They only lost.
That's your old high school.
Yeah, they only lost like 3 starters. Lape's coming back at quarterback for Grass Lake. They have a new running back, but they have almost all the same starting receivers. And they have everybody on the line coming back, both sides, almost everybody. So they didn't even lose much, so they're going to keep the ball rolling. Obviously, Napoleon's got a mix of new and experienced guys. Michigan Center's got a lot of experience. And then the West Division, Addison, of course, has a whole new coaching staff and all new players. Addison is literally a whole new team coming in. And Columbia didn't lose a whole lot. Last year they were junior heavy. So all those guys are seniors now. So Columbia's still got their team who they just missed the playoffs last year, so they did okay, and I expect them to have another good year. So Addison's a question mark to me. Columbia's reloading. I'd put Jonesville in the conversation. You know, they've struggled the last couple years, but I expect them to be a lot better. Hanover's in the mix, and of course, Homer's in the West too. And Vandercook's back at 11-man this year.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
You said they had 20-some.
Josh Burgett did an interview with the head coach, Dan Medina, a couple weeks ago. We'll have to go check that out. But I don't remember the exact number, but they have enough for 11-man varsity to be back. Because the last year they had an 11-man but JV schedule they played. And then the year before that they were 8-man. So it's great to see Vandercook getting the numbers again and getting back to playing in the Cascades Conference. And we're going to have him on JTV this year, Vandercook.
Oh, good.
So I'm excited to watch that. But Napoleon football, again, they've had those last 2 years here really quick. It's been a lot of fun watching Napoleon. And I shouldn't say nobody, but not a lot of people expected them to 2 years ago when they went to the semifinal to make that run.
No, nobody did. It was so fun for our community, and as you know, I'm the township supervisor out there, and JTV was very kind to let me do as many of the home games and away games that Napoleon had. So it was very exciting for us.
Sure.
So fun. So the whole community was crazy. Aggies was just
That's
show.
I haven't been there in a while. I gotta
They
get
put a
there.
new outdoor patio out there,
Yeah.
and
I've been there since they've added that. They've got I think I went on Monday, the cornhole night.
Yeah.
On Mondays. So they're doing a lot of great things.
Bike
like
night
the
is on
Aggies.
Tuesday.
Yep.
So
Yep.
they do a nice job.
I think they have a karaoke night too, or DJ,
Sure.
something like that. They've got something almost every day of the week. So shout out to Scott Ash
Yep.
and everybody at
Yep.
Aggies. So, we're looking forward to our 25th season of high school football coming up later this week. Thursday, Lumen and Michigan Center. So we've got just a couple more minutes with Dan Gallagher when we come back. So stay with us. Welcome back on JTV. I'm David Rice. Over the last couple weeks, we've had a chance to talk to many players over at Jackson High School for our Chelsea State Bank Football Media Days, previewing each team leading up to our 25th season of high school football here on JTV, presented by Minuteman Sewer and Drain. We've had many great player interviews. We've talked to Jackson High, we've talked to Hanover, Grass Lake, Michigan Center, Northwest, and now today we're going to be talking with somebody from the Pirates of Napoleon. We just talked about them before the break. They have a mix, of course, of new players coming in that have been on the team but haven't got a ton of experience or playing time. They have a mix between that and a returning offensive and defensive line and some other returning guys as well. So I'm excited to see how Napoleon does this year, and I know we're looking forward to covering the Pirates this year. So let's take a look. I had a chance to talk to Napoleon Pirates running back sophomore Ashton Warner. Welcome back here on JTV. We continue our coverage of 2024 Football Media Days from Jackson High School. Our show today brought to you by the Insurance Circle Agency. The Napoleon Pirates are here. They lost last year. They made the playoffs, made it to a district championship, had to go to one of the toughest places in the state of Michigan, play at Lumen Christi, and they're back for more. We're here with sophomore running back and middle linebacker Ashton Warner. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Great to be here.
So how's the summer workouts been going so far? 7-on-7. I think you have camp coming up, right?
Yeah, they've been going good. People have been working hard, and we're real hopeful with our DBs coming up.
Mm-hmm.
They've been showing some good growth.
So other than the linemen on both sides of the ball, we were talking about it before the show, it's really a lot of a new group. You lost a big senior class last year. Some of the guys that we've all known in the past 3 or 4 years, like Grant Bradley, Holden Van Poppel, Cooper Wires, and so many others. So what's it been like working with this whole new group and getting ready for the season?
It's been a learning process. They're still learning. They have some trouble. Most of them never played varsity football, so we're still breaking them in a little.
Mm-hmm.
But they're learning pretty good.
Talk a little about your new starting quarterback, sophomore Isaac. What's that been like working with him?
Pretty good. I've been liking him.
Yeah.
He's been a good friend of mine for a couple of years now. He's picking it up real quick. He's real technical with the stuff he does. Good with footwork.
There's a little more competition, I think, in the East this year as far as the Cascades Conference, and same thing with the West on both sides. Michigan Center, they lost a couple guys, but they've come back with a lot. And same thing with Grass Lake, and you guys come back with a lot of experience again, especially on the line. Talk a bit about the schedule this year and the competition. And do you have any games yourself that you have circled on your calendar? Like, I want to play that team the most. I'm excited for that game.
Excited for probably Grass Lake. So it's homecoming.
Yep.
Always want to win homecoming. But I know quite a few people on the team.
Coach Derek Schell going into his 7th season here at the helm for the Pirates. Talk about your relationship with him. What does he mean to you and for you guys as a team?
He's probably my favorite coach that I've ever had. Yeah. He's hard on us when he needs to. He's nice on us most of the time. He's funny. He can joke around with us.
I mentioned earlier you guys got back into the playoffs, made it to the district championship against Lumen Christi. What did you guys learn from that game? And if you potentially have to, if you make the playoffs, match up with them again, what experiences do you guys have from that game, and what are you taking from that into this year? It's not easy, going into their place and playing back-to-back state champions.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult, knowing that their record of how much they've won, but it wasn't impossible. We didn't necessarily play great, but it's all right.
Do you guys have any goals for this season? Do you have any individual goals?
This year I want to get over 100 tackles, something like that. Last year I wasn't able to, or at least for varsity I wasn't able to. But I also want to be a starting running back.
Talk a little about the bond between you guys. Again, I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit of a new group. I know the linemen have gotten a lot of varsity play from the last year or two, but what's that bond been like between you guys, not only on, but maybe off the field too?
Pretty good. We have team bonding together. Well, maybe once a week, something like that. We go to people's houses. We have dinner, just hang out. Before games, we have dinner with each other.
You guys open up the season at Onstead. We were there covering that game last year. It took 2 days to play that game. That was, Woods mentioned that earlier, that was a crazy experience of starting out at your guys' school and then finishing at Onstead. You guys ended up winning that game. I thought that was the game of the year. That was an exciting finish. And you guys open up the season this year at Onstead. So good luck this season, and we're looking forward to covering the Napoleon Pirates. Appreciate the time
Yeah,
today.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back here on JTV. Thanks to Ashton Warner from the Napoleon Pirates for joining this show. We appreciate the time. Good luck to the Napoleon Pirates this year. Again, a mix of young guys and a lot of experience coming back. So I'm looking forward to watching the Napoleon Pirates this year. And thanks to the supervisor and JTV sports commentator, Dan Gallagher, for joining the show. Other than football season, you get a rare appearance on TV from Dan Gallagher, so good to have him on the show. His perspective on the game, being a former official, high school official in the area and in Lansing for almost 20 years, and how he looks at the linemen, because they're the most important part of the game. The linemen being down there and just the way he views the game and breaks it down is amazing. So good to have Dan Gallagher on the show. We'll have to have him back again sometime soon for sure. Coming up on Wednesday's show, we'll have another recap of the last couple Detroit Tigers games. We'll have another high school sports update, and we'll get more in-depth with our first football game Thursday night. Josh Burgett, JTV sports commentator, will be joining the show. So that's all coming up on Wednesday's show. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching or listening on the pod, and we will talk to you Wednesday.